Alright, so we are back with a brand new league, and if you couldn't tell from the thumbnail or the title, this is going to be WPF Delta Season 3. So, if you don't know what WPF Delta is, it is a league that has existed for 3 seasons now, as you can probably guess. I know Season 3, wow, big surprise. And it is a subdivision of a bigger league called World Pokemon Federation, you know, WPF, that was created about 6 years ago, 5.5 years ago maybe, and is on its 16th season in total. I am one of the mons in that division that helped create this Wi-Fi division that you're looking at right now, which is what the Delta division is. If you couldn't already tell, this compared to P4G is going to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more laid back. It's still just going to be me goofing around, you know, being me, I guess, but not going to be as highly edited. This is going to be my draft analysis where I'm just going to kind of go over the team, not going to be too much in depth. Just gonna be like, this is what I picked, this is why I picked them on, and let's hope it goes well. A couple of rules before we get into that though. This is gonna be a free Terra preview draft, but by free Terra it still means you have to have a captain, or rather you can have 2 captains. So you could have 2 captains up to the total of 25 points, but they can Terra into any type they want. The type just have to be disclosed beforehand. So I went into this draft in the 10th pick, which, if you didn't know, 10th pick is very, very bad. Basically, anything that's not a top, I would say like 4 or a bottom 3 is kind of the middle, but 10 is like the middle. We were 16 coaches, so that was middle. I initially wanted Palafin and or Spectria. I know those are 2 very good mons. I knew there was a chance they could get picked, but I was just kind of hoping, and unfortunately they both got picked. So I didn't have a chance to get either of them. I had to then pick something I've used before, which I typically do like to try new stuff out as often as I can, but this time around pretty much everything that was left was mons I've already used, or they were like not really around 1 pick, so I definitely could have waited a little bit. And what I ended up picking was Great Tusk. So as you can see here, we already have our nicknames on here because I kind of knew the nickname theme going into this, and I'm gonna go with bands, probably most likely leaning towards rock bands. If you do not think a band is rock band, that is fine. You can tell me if you don't think. Let me know in the comment section down below if you do not think it's a rock band, but I'm just gonna like AC/DC rock, you know, pretty standard easy. But yeah, Great Tusk, really strong mon. Like when I say I had to pick up Great Tusk, it's not as in it's a bad mon. It's just I used it before, so it's like it's not new, you know, new toy syndrome. But it's an incredibly good mon. Very strong defensively on the physical side, very strong offensively on the physical side. Decent speed here at 87 and access to rapid spin, so you can boost your speed. So you can go like boost attack with rapid spin is pretty nice. Get access to bulk up, has access to rocks, of course. As I mentioned, rapid spin is also a form of hazard control. So overall, I think Tusk is a really good mon that provides a lot of stuff for your team. Like it can do so many things, and it does take a pressure off the rest of the team. Like I don't have to get a stealth rock, I don't have to get a spinner because I already have one of, if not the greatest one in the entire game. The next mon with Great Tusk, I knew I wanted this. Even if I had gotten Palafin, there was still a big chance I still would have taken this. And that's going to be Guns N' Roses, the Hisuian Samurott. So I wanted Hisuian Samurott, and I think it pairs very well with Great Tusk in the sense that Great Tusk is a fantastic spinner. So any spikes we get up with our Hisuian Samurott can still stay up even if I want to remove my own hazards on my side. Now, the problem is they kind of share a very similar speed tier, which is something you will notice is going to happen with our team a little bit. But yeah, I wanted to use Hisuian Samurott a lot. I used it recently in a showdown league and really enjoyed it, so I wanted to take it into a Wi-Fi draft and just absolutely try and go bongos with it, which is not something I typically do. I actually do try and like even separate my showdown draft teams from my Wi-Fi draft teams. Like I try not to get the same mons, but this mon was simply just too fun to play with, so I took it over. It has Sword Stance, which is a really good way to set up. It has good priority in Sucker Punch and Aqua Jet. Of course, as I mentioned, it can set up spikes with Ceaseless Edge. Ceaseless Edge is just one of maybe the greatest moves that's ever created on a mon. Combine that with the sharpness ability on Hisuian Samurott, makes him absolutely nuts. Now, one of the sets I've learned is the best on this mon is actually going to be Assault Vest, or is it going to be a Resist Berry? I think those 2 variants of this mon is some of the best they can do, because it's a good way to kind of trade 1-for-1 while you also get spikes up. So you essentially just you kill a mon while almost dying yourself. But then you also have hazards up, and it's just a really good way to play Hisuian Samurott. Like he's not really ever a win con in a sense, so that's kind of just get the most out of him that you need to. Now next up after Hisuian Samurott was another mon I was pretty confident I was going to take no matter what I got. And I also thought there was a good chance I was going to make it my Terra captain, which I did end up doing. I was a little, when I picked him, not 100% certain, so I didn't announce him as a Terra Captain immediately. And that is Metallica, the Rillaboom. So I wanted Rillaboom. I think Rillaboom is a really great one. I loved him in Gen 8. Like in Gen 8, he was absolutely amazing. Of course, a little bit nerfed in Gen 9, both because he lost some moves to begin with. Now he's gotten a good amount of them back. And of course, the Grassy Glide nerf. And that is where the Terra comes in. So I opted to make this my Terra Captain because, well, one of my Terra Captains, because I think having the Terra kind of boosts him back to his former glory and maybe even makes him even stronger. You can get Terra Grass on a Grassy Glide set and just nuke stuff. But you can also have access to Terra Electric, Terra Rock, Terra Fire for some matchups, where it just means you can now hit the types that you couldn't really hit before. And I think that really opens up Rillaboom to do anything he wants to. Like, he can be great offensively, he can be great support, he can be pretty good defensively. Like, I think you can do a lot of things with Rillaboom. And I'm very excited about using him in this season. I really hope he can pop off. Now, as you can probably tell, we already have a little bit of a speed issue already. We have 87, 85, and 85. Now, we do have good priority in both Samurott and Rillaboom, but we also wanted a little bit more natural speed, and we got that with Enamorous. The Enamorous was still sitting there in round 4, and honestly, I initially did nothing about getting Enamorous, but I needed a fairy type, I needed the speed, I needed a special breaker, and Enamorous fit the bill for pretty much all of that. I like Enamorous. I've used it before in a Showdown League, and I think it kind of does, like, it just does what it does. Like, you come in, you click Moonblast, you click like an Earth Power if you're not choice locked, and that's pretty much it. Like, there's not gonna do, like, Core Mindsets are fine, but it's rare. I feel like Core Mindsets really present like a better opportunity than to just click Moonblast over and over, you know? I kind of wish this thing got U-turn a little bit. If it got U-turn, I think the utility you can use with it would be really nice, because it does get access to like Tailwind and whatnot, so it has a good support moveset as well if you really wanted to. But yeah, it provides us with that speed, provides us with a good fairy type, which is what I wanted. I wanted something that can kill dragon types, because right now 2 of our main mons is a water type and a grass type, which a dragon type is pretty good into both of those. So having good dragon type kill definitely helps there. Next up, I took Nirvana the Jirachi. And Jirachi is going to serve very much a support role in this team. I didn't think Jirachi was going to be my steel type going into this. I don't hate or have anything against Jirachi, but it is rare I think about it as a mon I want to pick up. But I think it fits the team very well here. It can pivot with U-turn, access to Wish if you want to. It's a good stealth rocket user, so now it doesn't have to be on Great Tusk. Jirachi can just do it. And its move pool is pretty wide, and you can do a lot of stuff with. As I said, I think it's going to be more of a support role in this team, but it can be in like an offensive threat like a Calm Mind or something else. Like it gets Meteor Mash, which with Serene Grace has a 40% chance to increase your attack. So I definitely think there's a lot of interesting stuff we can do with Jirachi, and I'm pretty happy about having it here. I think it provides like a good, solid support / defensive backbone to the team so far. On our next mon, I wanted some speed. Like Enamorous at 106 is fine, but I wanted something that was even faster. I want to round out those speed tiers a little bit. So I ended up taking a Let's Zeppelin the Kilowattrel. 125 speed is exactly what I wanted. I want a mon that naturally outspeeds most of the format. And this is also actually going to be our second Terra Captain. So I initially did not think about picking up Kilowattrel as a Terra Captain. I didn't even think about picking it up. But I've been wanting to use it for a little bit. It was still on the board at this point. I needed some speed. So I went, you know, why not? Let's just pick it up now. I did make it the Terra Captain, so you can go get those stab Terra Blast flying if you need to. Can get Terra Blast water in some situations. And I do think Kilowattrel is a good Terra Captain. So I'm not mad about this pickup at all. I also think competitive is a really good ability on this team, because we have the Samurott with spikes, meaning if anyone wants to default, we can switch in our Kilowattrel, get that competitive boost, can even switch in our Enamorous to get that evasion boost that is very much allowed, because it's not in our control, you know. And even Volt Absorb with like Terra Water is really nice. So very happy about Kilowattrel. Next up, we have Queen the Ursaring, which is going to be our bulky normal. So there's actually a couple of ghost types running around that are really strong in this format, Dragapult and Spectria being the 2 most noticeable one, but also I think Ceruledge did also get picked up. And I think having a strong normal type can be very important in that situation. And having one that cannot be burnt, well, it can be burned by wolves, but if you do it, you're just giving me guts, you know. It's very nice. Of course, the only disadvantage to Ursaring is it can't really heal. Like, you have to rely on like a rest set, which is fine. Like, there's some situation where rest sleep talk can be enough for Ursaring. A little bit risky, but I think Ursaring does provide us with that good defensive backbone with the EV light that it has. I used Ursaring before in the BBRD League back a little bit over a year ago, and I really enjoyed it back then. So I'm hoping I can kind of do the same here. And, you know, I just wanted a little bit more bulk in the team, so it made sense. Now, speaking of ghost types, I also wanted one for myself because the ghost typing on our team is super important because it percent spin blocking. I initially wanted Petrant, but Petrant got picked up in round 2 before my pick in round 2, by the way, so I had no shot of taking that thing if I didn't take it round 1, which I'm not going to take it round 1 in a regular draft. That's just not happening. And I didn't want to pick up Golden Go, even though Golden Go is really good as a spin blocker. He would be another mon that would be around 85 speed, which would not be good. So I picked up Gengar. Now, Gengar is not the greatest spin blocker because he is very frail, so it is kind of risky switching him into a lot of things. But he's fast, he's a hard-hitting special attacker. He does similar things to Enamorus in a sense, but he has a bit more of a support move pool because you can get Trick, you can get Destiny Bond, you can do a couple of different things with this guy that Enamorus cannot do. And I do think having the additional poison typing, having a fairy killer is very nice because Jirachi is very good defensively into a lot of fairy types. With the 100 attacking stats, it's not the best offensively. Like, it can be good. You can run like good offensive Jirachi, but Gengar is more naturally breaking those fairy types, which I think is very important for a team. Also really good at breaking grass types for something like a Great Tusk, so that definitely also helps. Now, lastly on our team, I noticed that we were lacking a good specially defensive wall. Right now, our physical defense is pretty decent, but our special defense was relying on like Assault Vest users, or it was relying on like Ursaring being Spadef all the time. And I didn't really want that. And we were also lacking a dragon type. Now, the dragon type wasn't as important to me, but it just ended up being a dragon we took, and that was Aerosmith the Gutra. So this of course presents a grass immunity, which is pretty nice, but it also presents that specially defensive booty, like 150 special defense with 90 HP. There's almost no special attacker that is going to break through this. It really will help us team in the long run, I think, making sure we don't auto lose to certain special attackers. Like Terra Ironmoth, I think, is running around. It's going to be a massive threat. Even Spectria, this can be a decent switch into because we can run special. We can run mixed as well if we really need to. So yeah, pretty happy about the Gutra pickup. I think it really rounds out the team like bulk-wise, and I think it's going to end up being a glue piece that is going to come to a lot more games that I probably initially thought about when I picked it up. But thinking about it since then, I'm like, yeah, no, I think Gutra fits this team very well. So yeah, that is going to be our full team, as you should probably be able to tell at the top right now. I'm very excited about this team. I really like it. I do think there's a couple of flaws in the team every now and then, so maybe down the line, if I feel like doing some transactions, we'll change it up a little bit. But for now, I think it has a lot of positive strings to play on. We have really good breaking. We're pretty good speed tiers. Our hazard control is good, but not amazing, because we have the best spinner in probably the format, but it is also our only hazard control. We also have the best setter in Hizun Zamrod, so that's kind of like my idea there. We can just overwhelm our opponent if we really need to. As always, if you like the video, make sure to leave a like on the video, leave a comment about the team, and subscribe to the channel for any future videos. And with that, I head out. Peace, YouTube.